Hi, I'm Brittney Ashley, your host of Breaking Norms, Building Dreams, your guide through this transformative journey in both business and life. This is your place crafted for dreamers, doers, or anyone who has been told they can't. Get ready as we challenge those narratives together. You're tuning in live to the United Public Radio Network, airing on 105.3 and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. We are streaming on all the popular platforms every Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join me for a candid and thought-provoking conversation celebrating your unique journey because you are worth it. Happy Monday. Can you believe that we're already on Monday again, Nadine? It's crazy. It's happening.
I know. It is. It is.
Today. For anyone listening, we had some technical issues before we started live, so bear with us. And even too, like the camera seems to not be wanting to go anywhere today, so we're just going to wing it today. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and we just discovered that both of our kids are sick home, and we're juggling working from home with sick kids while still, keeping the business going and managing all those appointments and meetings. So, hey, mom life.
I literally was just talking to the pediatrician before, and I had to call back right before, or else we would have lost our slot. And they're booking for 2025. So I was like,
whoa.
Trying to manage all the things. But for anyone just listening right now, welcome to Breaking Norms, Building Dreams. I'm your host, Brittney Ashley, and we are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network 105.3 and 107.7 FM in wonderful New Orleans. Get ready to escape the next hour with Nadine and I as we break norms and build dreams. And Nadine is back again.
Woohoo!
We're
Say again?
I said, I don't even know how many episodes we're at. We're killing it, though. I know that.
I know. And I'm loving it. Thank you so much for keep having me on. Even though today is going to be the last time for 2024. We've had a regular monthly slot, but today is also the start of my last week of work officially, at least before maternity leave, my second one. So lots of things happening this week.
Yeah, I don't know if the listeners know yet because I don't believe we told.
Oh, I don't know. Well, it's about time. It's like I'm in my third trimester.
Happening. It's real.
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh, it's been real for a while.
Yeah.
This pregnancy.
I bet. For all the listeners, Nadine's been with us since I started the show in January, and coming in every month, and we have different topics. Today we're just kind of talking about how to fall into focus for the last final quarter, or whatever you want to call it in your business or life. We're going to dig into that a little bit deeper today. But for those just tuning in, Nadine is an international coach for moms who want to get their mojo back and go after more and the thing that they can't stop thinking about. Nadine's also based in Vancouver, BC. I'm based in Victoria. We have yet to actually physically meet each other, but only ever online. Because we have the best synergy.
It's crazy, isn't it? We've collaborated on so many different projects, and we've worked together for a while. How many years has it been now? 2, 3, 4? And it's I mean, we're an island away from each other.
So anyone listening, you can really make great connections across the world, even near and far. It's so true. We had another guest on here, and we met through a coaching program. It was one of our very first. She was on the very first episodes. And even though she's in Illinois, we're very close. I literally just texted her being like, do you want to do an event together? And she's like, just tell me what, where, and I'll be there. It's when you make those connections, right? And the synergy, I love it. It's all about connection.
Yes. Relationships, connections, just keeping it going. If you vibe, you vibe, and you just, go with it. It's, I know we touched on it several times before. It's like building your own mom village or mom support network, and how different that at least for you and me, and for a lot of other moms we know, how different that looks now compared to what we may have expected when we went first into our motherhood journeys,
Yeah.
and how we're expanding that into like globally, not just in person, and incorporating other moms who run their businesses, or you know, it's just beautiful, and it's all about the support network.
100%.
Hmm.
I love it. I just love, even though we're, it's a lot of people, because they don't understand the island in itself, or BC in itself. It's far if you really need to go travel. Like, it's a lot of work. Like, let's be honest, like my girlfriend who lives just down the road, we don't even see very much. And we've known each other since elementary school. She literally just dropped off a few hand-me-downs for me, and being like, and we are trying to set up a play date, but it didn't work out because Hut's has a little bit of a runny nose. So trying to make sure no one else gets sick.
Hmm.
I'm not sick. No one else is sick. It's just Hut. But unfortunately, at his age, he's like the prime target to get exposed to all the things.
Yeah, and it's only just this starting the sniffles season. It's just starting out. Mm.
Yes. Yeah. But I'm so excited. You're going to be welcoming a little one soon.
Yeah.
So just the listeners, Nadine, this is Nadine's last show of 2024. But we'll be back in 2025. It's really weird to say those numbers out loud.
Yeah, right. How's it mid-September?
I know, right? I can't keep track. But she will be back, so no stress or worries there. She'll be back in the new year, and we'll map out some great conversations. So anyone listening now, or just thinking of anything kind of topics related, just let us know, and we can definitely dive into that in the new year. But how are you
Yeah.
feeling overall? 2 little ones.
Yes, currently still looking forward to it. But it must be the algorithm online, as like I get all these messages of all these posts about what life is like of a mother of two, and how it's going to be different. But we're all really excited, including my son, who's been um, advocating for a sibling for a long time. So,
Aw.
and he's already very much involved and very impatient to welcome his sibling. And yeah, just wants to be involved, and gathers gifts and activities and things that they can do together. So it's really cute to see. And
It's very cute. Like, I'm an
yeah.
only child, so I've always wanted like a sibling, and so I knew if I've ever had kids, I would want at least another. I started with the idea of 3, and that was scary after producing. Uh,
Yeah.
uh,
Hmm.
really, 2 is great, one of each, and they're like little besties. They're inseparable, and it's quite cute to see when
Hmm.
they're. But then there's the times, brother, lovely sister fighting modes happen. So sometimes that does take a toll, but I'm
Yeah.
happy that we have each other.
Yeah. Exactly.
Mhm.
So that's the way. It's hopefully going on our side too.
Yes, it will be great. I know it will be. Um, Looking into the final months for any moms, parents listening, maybe we can dive into how we can refocus, because it seems like, for me personally, I don't really go into like the quarterly. I feel like I base my, like, even though yes, I do my reports for business and all these things for accountant in a certain time, but I guess I break mine into like when I have my birthday. I just feel,
Wow, what a take! Tell me more.
yeah, I just feel that I feel more in alignment doing that than being like, oh, it's a new year, new stretch.
Mhm.
Like, what's this? And I feel like there's already so much pressure on like the societal piece on that, like everywhere. I feel like everyone's bombarding, being like, what are your goals for the new year? What did you do here, versus looking at your birth date and having that more of your reflection of a year. Then it could be goals, it could be, I call it like the reflection year of what I've accomplished thus far, where I would like to be maybe in 6 month time?
Mhm.
Am I happy? Do I like so forth? Kind of. That's kind of how I like to map my notes. It's only recently that I've kind of pivoted my mind frame in that. But I just feel so much more at ease and more in alignment thinking of it that way than like, oh, the new
Mhm.
year's coming, like stressed out because you have your Christmas, you have like all these other things on
Mm.
top.
You know what? I actually really like that idea, and I need to look more into it for myself. I think
Mm,
business-wise, I mean, I have a corporate background, so I used to be a manager a people manager, hiring manager in an IT global IT company, and I was very much the first, second, third, and fourth quarter, and the fourth quarter really included September already as well. So it was the busiest time of the year, and this is how we'd set everything up, and it was just yeah, go 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 basically, and now for my business side of things, I still not necessarily look into the quarters, but more of like where's the busy time? Where are I'm working with mothers. When would they want to have support, and for what reasons? They might need different type of support during the summer months when the kids are home or they're traveling and they're more into their own well-being. Whereas, beginning of the year and end of the year, more of a general seasons type of thing rather than particular months or quarters would be, I would maybe call this like the busy season because this is just how, where when clients or people I work with and collaborate with, when they would seek out their support, and definitely towards the end of the year, when exactly what you said, everyone's just busy running around, like trying to get everything in before the Christmas season or holiday season, and everyone's just really stressed, both at work and at home, because they're trying to make it possible, right?
yes.
It's like really killing it at work, and at home just keeping everyone together, creating those special family moments and experiences, and keeping the family together, and all the stressors and the organizing. And it can be a lot. So usually I would say, coming out of the summer holidays, kids back to school, everyone's kind of back to work officially.
Yeah.
Um, that's when it can become quite busy. Apart, obviously, from this year. So I really had to look at my own mindset, at least for this year. It's like,
Yeah.
whoa. So this is probably the first time that I'm not going to be, or my busy will look very, very different to what I've known all my life or my working life,
Mhm.
because I was a little one.
Yeah.
Um, so, yeah, that'll look different. But I do like the part what you said about, at least for personal goals, to kind of phrase that a bit more around your birthday. Um,
Mhm.
really, and mine is coming up soon too. So there is a bit of an opportunity here to
Mhm.
reflect and see how that goes.
Yeah, I love that. And I find too, when I kind of reframe it a little bit more around the birthday, I feel less stress. I don't know,
Hmm.
maybe because, yeah, sure, it's another year's come and gone, but like I was saying, like in New Year's, like it's just a stressful time. And it, like before now I'm incorporated, but being a sole prop, like I had to do taxes and get prepared for taxes.
Hmm.
So I maneuvered too, where I have to do my incorporation tax at the end of September. And so
Mhm.
everything's done before Christmas, and then we don't have to worry about until like 10,
Yeah.
which is like so like less stressful, because the first few years of business, I was super stressed trying to manage all these things. And I know I've worked with other coaches in the past, and they'd be like, well, what's your quarter now? What do you plan? And I just find like in the 4 month stretch is really stressful. And we as
Mhm.
entrepreneurs already put a lot of stress on ourselves other than being moms or parents.
Yeah.
So being like, oh, it's quarter, whichever, I should have had at least, I don't know, 5 more clients by now, but why not?
Mhm.
And then
Yeah.
I just end up feeling like this trickle effect. And this year
Yeah.
has been hard. I know I've talked to quite a few different business owners who are struggling. I know a whole lot of business owners who end up going back to 9 to 5 because they couldn't sustain their business. And I think overall this year has been hard for everybody. And so giving ourselves more grace and thinking of ways to make those goals, maybe I find like goals are great when we can do like actionable chunks, but right now the world's a little bit chaotic. So how can we make it a little bit more in a sense of giving us more grace if we don't hit that number? Because I feel like we as business owners are very high achievers, and then we end up beating ourselves up when we don't get to that certain number.
Yeah. I totally agree. And the giving ourselves grace seems to be a running theme throughout our our chats as well. And yeah, I agree with, it's yes, I believe if you don't spell out what you want or what you want to work towards, or don't have it somewhere a bit more tangible, it's just not going to happen. If you don't put something in your calendar or on your to-do list and you're not clear, then it's, it's not necessarily a priority, and it's not going to happen by itself. Which is okay. Not everyone at every stage in their life is ready to or wants to work towards those, bigger goals, or do anything. So I'm just like, actually, I'm okay to, you know, just be for the moment and just go to my 9 to 5. And I'm done there. It's cool. It's not giving me too much stress. And I'm okay for right now. But if you do want to have goals and you want to accomplish something more or very specific, you need to be clear about what it is that you want and how you're going to get it. And on top of that, I would say it has to be the right goal for the right reasons, because otherwise it's going to get really, really tough. If you, so it needs to be something that really resonates with you for the right reasons. And if you're doing it because you think you should be doing it, or because you're satisfying someone else's expectations of whatever it is that you're working towards, it's just not gonna, like, getting up and doing something about it might not be as efficient. It's not gonna make you happy. So it's more about where, yes, can you give yourself some grace, and also why are you doing or working towards what you're working towards? What's that? How does that help you? How does that connect with you? And how does it give you energy? Because sometimes, working towards something can be a bit draining, but if that's something that you actually really want to do, and he's like, oh, this is my why, this is why I think it'll be great for myself or for my family or whatever, then it's easier to get up and do something about it, to carve out that extra time and to stick with it, right? It's not a once-off thing. It's something that you keep working on and keep getting up for.
100%. Yeah, I love that. And I feel like we have so much noise in the world that we forget sometimes the real reason why we started something, and get kind of filtered down in the noise really overall. Like, I was just at a speaking event that I was promoting here the last 2 weeks, Your Brand, Your Fortune, which was an event last week that I was a part of, and mine was all about like imposter syndrome, networking, and making those powerful connections and being more authentic to you and who you are. And I find we as business owners and sometimes parents, we have a lot of noise around us of the expectation of what we should be and where we should be, when really we all have our own and different journeys, and no one knows what's happening behind the doors. And so it's going back to give ourselves grace. And I think we really need to remind ourselves that, because we do have so much societal norms that we need to break down a little bit more on what it looks like to be a parent and mom and and so forth.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that about the noise. And I want to add that it's on top of all the noise that we hear externally, right? So it could be our kids screaming around for whatever reason. It could be screaming around, as in, you know, they might just be playing, or they're having an argument, or like that's an actual thing that's kind of loud. Then you have maybe everyone else's opinion, or the shoulds and the expectations. And on top of that, oftentimes, referring back to what you know, call the imposter syndrome, our own kind of internal dialogue can be quite loud too. Or I should have known better, right? Or why didn't it work out this time? Or I can't stand this. Or it's like our own internal, dialogue, or really like negative thought patterns can be quite impactful as well. And they're not often talked about out loud. They're not coming to the surface, and they can fester quite a bit and have a real impact on even whether we start a goal or in the first place or not, right? If you have that negative self-talk and thinking it's like, it's not going to work out for me anyway, or why should I start this? You know, there's other people doing this already, or I can't do this. Then the impact of that is that you're not even starting, not even going for something that might otherwise feel really fulfilling. So yeah, a lot of noise going on out there.
100%. And it's about how can we quiet the noise. Everyone's going to be different, like I was saying, on how we can do that. But sitting down and mapping out what makes sense for you will definitely help you quiet the noise and be more laser focused when you're trying to move forward on that certain goal or whichever you're trying to do. Yeah. Do you have any tips and tricks for parents, moms out there that are wanting to write down and reflect on goals?
Reflect on goals that they've been working on already?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if you have them, look at them, see how far you've come. It's just you know, if you're thinking, okay, at the beginning of the year, this is where I wanted to be on a scale from say 0 to 10, I absolutely smashed it and I'm there. It's like, where are you now on that scale? And then with a bit of self-compassion, it's like, why is that? If you haven't started anything yet, how comes? Was it the wrong goal, the wrong time? Is it something you can move on to for next year? Is it something you want to ditch altogether because it just doesn't resonate, doesn't give you anything? You may have done it because, or put the goal up because you felt you should be working on it. It would be a cool thing. And then that's totally okay, and refocus. And if you're already on the path and you're like with the particular goal, and it's like, oh, you know, this is something that's really important to me, and I really want to make it work for the rest of the year. Then just reflect a bit of like, what's the next step that needs to happen? What's the next first step that needs to happen to make this possible? And where might you need support? Who do I need to help? Ask help. Where do I need to seek help if need be, right? And break it down a bit. So what are all the steps then that need to be done? Be clear about what the first one is that you need to take. So it's just, you know, those little things, and then put all those tasks in your calendar or on your schedule, on your to-do list, wherever. It needs to be somewhere visible, somewhere where you can say, okay, every day I'm working on this, or every week, this is what I'm going to do to work towards that. Because if it's not, again, written down or somewhere in your calendar, it can easily be forgotten. And it's good to have a reminder there. It's like, hey, you know, this is what needs to go. And on top of that, if you want to keep working on those goals, coming back kind of full circle to what we touched on earlier on today's show, which is to surround yourself with your support network. It's always easier to have people around you who cheer you on, who, you know, give you some candid feedback or support, some input, or connect you with other people or resources. That could be obviously in your personal and in your professional network. It's like, who's there? Who can you ask for support, or even just say, hey, you know, next time I'm thinking about not doing or going for this. Can you just, give me a nudge and tell me to actually go and do it anyway? Just who are those people you want to have in your support network, and share it with them for a bit of accountability.
I love that. And I find too, like, really listen to your inner self, your inner gut. So this year, I really just wanted to do more speaking opportunities and anything like that. I wanted to focus on that and build more confidence in that. So I had mapped out 5 to do this year, and I have reached the 5th as of last week.
Yay! Congrats.
Hey, I'm so excited. And then I decided to do my full website relaunch and it's like a brand refresh, which we've talked a bit
Yeah.
on the show of a brand's always evolving. And I envisioned this business like 6 years ago, and I feel like I finally like got it. After 6 years, I'm like, I got it now.
Wow! How does that feel?
I feel like my messaging is just going to be so much more clear now, because I was
Mm,
working with Lindsay quite a bit, going like this way and that way. And it's like, yes, I'm matching you to your perfect VA, OBM, or whichever to build your business, but it's so much more than that. And so I feel like this year I was like, you know what? You're on it. You're almost there, but maybe take some time to rewind a little bit. You're so focused at always doing everybody else's marketing or everybody else's
mm,
things in your own business. So your messaging is clear. So I really tried not to take on very many clients. I only took on one and just focused on the new website rebrand and then doing a new CRM. And then I feel like it's just going to organically feel a little bit better when I take in new clients, because I'm always
yeah.
feeling stressed. But yeah,
This
I'm pretty excited that those are my goals this year.
Yay! It seems like, even when you talk about it, it seems like so much more ease and flow. I talk to that a lot about
Mhm.
my clients, like, where can it be easier, or where can you put a bit more flow in to not feel like you're always pushing, 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 but there might be something in there where, it's more aligned.
Yeah.
And I love that you're sharing this story here, because it does take time. It does
Mhm.
take time, and it takes pivots, and it takes adjustments, and it's not like one done and then, you know, you're just doing it. I can't, like, I know you said you feel like you're there, but
It's
there's
always,
always there's
yeah.
always some things like, "Oh, maybe I can tweak this," and it doesn't necessarily come with a bit of, like, the pressure behind it, but just
Mhm.
generally because you're excited about certain things,
Mhm.
or you're excited to dive into something that, really, really resonates with you while it's still
Mhm.
in alignment with where you're at. So I love that you share the ever, the evolving story
Mhm.
of your, yeah, entrepreneurial side.
Yeah, and I find like anyone listening, you're going to always get advice of what not to do, and it doesn't make sense. Like I remember I was in like this brainstorming session, and I was like, "Oh, well, I just feel like I need to put my coaching within creative dynamics." And they're like, "Well, that's dumb." And that was like the conversation. I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay." And then the more I did some research, and I'm like, no, it's not dumb. Like my gut told me to do this from the beginning. Let's just step into it fully and do it. And
Yeah.
so far, like one of my clients went to go take a look at this site, and they're like, one, you can tell your heart and soul went into this. It's like, it's you in a nutshell. And
Mhm.
two, like it makes sense fully of what you're trying to do here. And I was like, finally.
Yes. Yes.
So,
Um, so I do like that it's like you're going with your gut, right?
mhm,
It's what resonates again, and you're just trying it out. And
yeah,
if it really doesn't work out, then there's always ways to maybe not necessarily ditch it right away, but maybe tweak it in certain ways, right?
exactly.
And say, hey, maybe I'm approaching it from the wrong perspective, or maybe
Mhm,
there's some wording or an in that needs to change to make it resonate a bit more with everyone. So yeah, and that goes really well with goals. You know, this is something that you want. So how you're testing it out and you're going for it, not thinking it's perfect and you're going in, this is the whole thing, but you've kept working on it, right?
100%.
And you're tweaking it, and there's always something where you need a pivot. I think that's something that we moms are really good at, like last minute pivots or
Yes.
more information. Okay, great. Let's put it there, and you just going with it and figuring out that change is always there. You're going to be okay if things, don't work out how you've imagined them, and you can always pivot a bit or change or edit or adjust, or just saying, hey, not right now. This is something, like, I have a list of things that I want to do, but I can't do them all right now. I have things that I want to do that I've been meaning to do for the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
But I just know it wasn't the right timing. It wasn't a just yet.
Yes.
But there's things that I want to do for next year when I come back from maternity leave, and I'm excited about it. And I feel good about achieving my own goals this year and tackling those other things that are still on the list. And after 2 or 3 years, I'm still excited about trying those things. So that's how I know it's also a good goal, because if
Mm-hmm.
I stick with it, it really resonates.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%. We're already in the midway. For just those tuning in, welcome to Breaking Norms, Building Dreams. We're live on the United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. And we're talking all about goals and all the things for parents, moms, anyone listening. Anyone can really connect with creating those kind of goals and strategies within your personal and within business,
Mm-hmm.
can really in alignment of that. I find too, I was just going to ask before we segue more into it, maybe we should talk about what short-term and long-term goals are for anybody, because I don't think we really dove into that. We did high level, but not really specific.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say goal is?
So sorry, can
Oh,
you
sorry.
repeat that question again?
What would you say a short-term goal is?
Um, it's probably something that you can achieve well, short term is very relative. So, is the end of the year, end of 2024, is that short term? Is that
Mm,
medium? I don't know. It's very, yeah, kind of depends on everyone's personal kind of outlook and take on it.
mhm,
So whatever I'm going to say, obviously take it with a grain of salt.
mhm,
For me, that's relatively, I would say, end of December, say December 2024, it would still be somewhat longer short-term goal. Let me put it this way. And it's something that people can do. You're going to make it within that year, or it has to happen until then, because otherwise um, it might not work out, or for whatever reason, it's no longer relevant once you go into, say, the new year, 2025. And yeah, it's something that needs probably immediate action right away. It's something that's sustainable. You can go for it and make it happen.
mm. Yeah.
Really, really short term. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would kind of like break it up into, like, I guess if anyone's thinking about it in segments. So you have your short
Mm-hmm.
term, long term, and like you were just saying, like in short term, can it be really actionable fast right here, right
Yeah.
now, in a 2-month time frame, or maybe 3, I would say,
Mm-hmm.
and then maybe the furthest would go into the long term. Maybe it's going to take you a year to action that. So maybe you're building. Let's go back to websites, for example. Perhaps it's your first time doing the project. You've never built a website and it's a new platform. You want to do the copy, you want to do photography. You have to think of it in milestone stages too, because it just doesn't happen overnight. Even within 2 months, you have to think about the copy. Like I end up thinking about this website. I'm like, oh, this is going to be easy peasy. I can get this out in 2 months, and taking 5-6 months.
I know. I remember you talking about it first. It's like, oh, I'm just quickly doing this over the summer, and it's like, and I looked at it the last few days. I was like, whoa, that's a massive website rebuild. So yeah,
It went from like, I'll just do one page to I'm doing the whole site.
yeah.
That's ADHD at its finest.
Plus, like going back to the copy, it over the amount of time, I'm sure you'll start off with one copy, and by the time you have all the pictures together and all the different categories, etc., you go back and say, I've learned more about my ideal audience, or I've learned more about this and this, and then you'll end up changing or editing the copy again, because as you grow your business, things just change. So it's always important, I think, to keep an open mind and saying, oh, now I do this again. And as part of the plan for your goals, always have a time buffer in there, or give yourself, again, a bit of grace to say, okay, this needs to, you need a bit of extra time here for the unforeseeable things.
Yeah, I can relate that one more to my CRM. We're coming on a year of that project. Pretty much they're ready to launch. It's just, I think I'm having a hard time to switch. Like there's been like some things that aren't in alignment yet, why I feel like I don't want to pull that trigger yet. It's not that it could be live, but I'm like a bit of a perfectionist. So yes, for going back to the website, it's live, but I have yet to really promote it. I guess I'm promoting it now. But like I was just messaging Florence before the show, and I was like, I was hoping we can fix the blog section because it needs to be perfect before I promote it. Because I get there's some issues with like the render. That's just me though. But really at the end of the day, like I don't know how many people will probably just go to the blog section. It'll probably just be like a high level.
Yeah.
Like, oh, looks great.
There you
That's
go.
it. But
yeah.
I think it's like having that buffer, like we're saying. So maybe with your short-term goals, I think looking at it, especially when you have kids, is that going to be realistic? Like the SMART goals. So you have yours looking more of the measurable. I can't remember. I have it always on the top of my brain when I'm doing marketing items, but can't think of it right now.
Yeah. Timely, measurable. Oh, we're going backwards from the SMART. Going backwards. And
my camera just went off. I was like, oh my goodness, the power went out. We're still here. Technology issues right now.
Yeah, right. Something else came to mind about short-term goals is it doesn't have to be the case, but I encourage everyone who's looking into like goal setting and smart goals and what they want to do by the end of the year, to also look into like, how does this play into my own like well-being? How does this play into my long-term goals? Is this something that is at odds with something else that you're trying to achieve over the long term? And how, impactful would that be? If you're, looking into this, it doesn't have to be that way, but it's just another way of making sure that you're working on the right things, that you're putting the energy and the time that are probably not there in abundance necessarily as a working mom, that you're a bit strategic about where and how you're going to invest your time and energy.
100%. I agree with that. I would not recommend doing a website and a CRM project at the same time. Nope, do not.
Lesson learned.
Especially if it's a full-on like automation systemizing, like what I'm doing right now. But in time, it has well worked out. But the summer too, like, gave me a little bit longer hours. So I think in my brain, I was like, this is my chance. I know
Yeah.
my daughter's going to be in camp a little bit longer than normal than usual school pickup. So this is probably my chance to get an extra 2 to 3 hours work. And I'm more efficient. And I think looking at when you're efficient, I'm way more efficient, I've now noticed, at between 12 and 3, which is probably, and I don't know what I do from 9 to other, the other times. I feel like I just float and it takes me a long time to focus.
Hmm.
Um, but I get hyper focused within that time slot and I'm able to push out a lot and do a
Hmm.
lot. And so I think that's why my brain, I was like, yeah, let's just do it over the summer because you can get this all done. And I did,
Yeah.
but I feel a little bit dead.
Oh no.
Um,
Um, it's a good insight to have and to work around with that. It's like, when are you, where are your energy levels? Specifically also, around that time of the month. Is that are those days the days that you necessarily need to take on or launch something,
mhm,
or have those big projects? Sometimes if you do have a choice, and if you're more energized right before you have your period, or it's like, why don't
mhm,
you like play around with that, and that timing, and optimize there. It's the same in the last 2 years. I realized January's they're just like, I don't necessarily subscribe to New Year's resolutions for January anyways, and I feel I need to do a lot more mm, kind of nurturing myself. So generally, in the last 2 years, I've noticed it's like, if I can, I will take a step back and just nurture myself and my brain, and
right.
for my own well-being, right?
Mhm,
And it's the same for working. So for me, um, this has been always ever changing. It's like how I can do things. And I generally actually work best in the evenings. It's like from 5 onwards. But that doesn't work out so well when kiddo is home and
yeah,
dinner is ready to be prepared. Those are the times when, it's actually family time and not work time.
mhm,
So for me, that is still a bit of a work in progress, but something I'm very much mindful about. Um, and then again, it's going to be different again with the newborn around.
yeah, and
So that's all changing. Um, yeah.
it's so true. Like, it's weird to think back now that the kids are at their age now, that I've been doing this for almost 6 years and how I survived. But like we keep saying, like, it's taken me a long time, though, to wrap my head around giving myself grace because I
Hmm.
am a high achiever. I suffer a lot from my own imposter syndrome thoughts and all of these other things. And so being very mindful and very more in the mind frame too of abundance, I think this year has like helped me feel more stress,
Hmm.
if that makes
Yeah.
any sense. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There's a lot of like mindset around it,
Mhm.
of like achieving your goals, and not being so tough on yourself, making it realistic, giving yourself some grace, and building in buffer zones for the unexpected,
Mhm.
and seeing, with your support team, how you can make it happen. Cue today, both of our kids are unexpectedly at home sick.
Mhm.
And we still have to make things work, and juggle and be a bit creative with how we deal with it. And even though we've been here before at this situation with kids being
Mhm.
sick, and we're still showing up somehow for a short time, and then, pushing other goals out or action items to make it work. It's it's always like, oh, yeah, okay, here we go again. How we can make it happen, and you feel a bit calmer around it
Yes.
once you've been through it a few more a few times. But it's still important, and something that needs to happen, right? And yeah, so I would like, if anyone's listening in, I would actually love to know what people's goals are for the rest of the year. And they want to type something in and just say, hey, this is what's important for me to do or to achieve by
Yeah.
the end of the year. You know, do you want a new job? Does anyone want a new job?
I find
Or
so many are pivoting. I really don't
yeah,
like that we as society are just blaming, oh, it's millennials. They're just never happy. So let's just blame them that they're changing jobs. Like, no,
nope,
we just had enough and we're speaking up.
right.
And we want that balance. We want to work with great employers and ones talking down to us.
Mm-hmm,
Um, it's not just because we are quote unquote millennials. I really hate like subcategorizing millennials, boomer. Like I really do. It's one of my biggest pet peeves. I think it's stereotype, like class act, not right. Show up differently. You don't know how you've been raised. You don't know how you've been brought up. And so
mm-hmm.
there's going to be different work ethics that will show up depending on what quote unquote age you are. And so I think that piece drives me absolute bananas.
Yeah. And then
But
there's the different expectations of, you know, or different needs. You might need something different if you're, I don't know, more independent, or you know, maybe even single. Sometimes it's
mm,
different for, you know, if you're raising a family, and then that's not always true. Not everyone who's single and independent, or you know, doesn't have kids, does want to say travel for work, or wants. Not
mm,
everyone wants to be in a leadership position, whereas, you know, there might be some parents out there who are like, I absolutely want to apply for that leadership position. Please put me on the path for that. So
mhm,
it's so individual,
mhm,
so personable. It's always about being curious and not assuming or putting a bias or even worse, on someone simply because of the things that we think they should be doing or should be thinking, because then we're in the same boat, right? It's
yeah,
um it's all about being curious and having those creating those opportunities and options, and then
100%.
just going for it. Hmm.
I was it was maybe a YouTube show. I really need to write these down, but sometimes it just comes up, the name of it. But he was saying that a lot of, like, kind of in a way what I was saying, like, don't classify people as millennials, da, da, da. Like, I really connected with what he was saying because a lot of people might just want a title. They just want that
Hmm.
one title and they're happy. Or, what was the other thing that he said? A slight little raise and they're happy.
Hmm.
Just taking that time, asking the curious questions of what that person wants within that employment setting
Hmm.
and understanding and having those structures around. So, like, I love seeing nowadays that more companies are thinking of having like a daycare within the
Hmm.
facility for employees. Like, that's amazing. That'd be nice because the struggle is real. Before and after
Yeah.
school doesn't exist, and or daycare hardly sometimes exists or not, depending if they're sick. Um, so yeah, I just love that the world is slightly changing into a way of being more curious and
Hmm.
figuring out how we can fix
Yeah,
the problem.
exactly. um Kind of just something else about, you know, how we're approaching it,
Mm,
um the being curious. Somehow the thought came up about, um the I mean, let's face it, it's September. Everywhere in the stores you already have, it's like the Halloween stuff is nearly all already sold out, and you have all the Christmas and holiday other cheers
yes.
in there. um and yeah, so what the thought that just came up is, also around goals for, like, personal goals for the end of the year
Mhm.
is, how do you want to spend the holiday season this year?
Yeah.
Um, you know,
I'm
is
at,
there something you'd want to change?
mhm.
Do you want to be more involved with family and friends and host more and be, what are those family traditions that you may want to lean into or not? And I know there's lots more, festivities and reasons to celebrate around the end of the year than just Thanksgiving, Halloween, and Christmas. There are so many amazing, um, occasions. And how do you, like? I'm just curious. Like, how do you want to be a bit more mindful, maybe, around it? Not like even reflecting back on the last few years. What did you do that kind of maybe even ended up in feeling a bit resentful because you put so much time and effort in it and no one really appreciated it? Is that something that you can just ditch going forward?
Mhm.
Or something
You
new you wanted to bring on? Yeah.
you know what I started rolling into? So the start of October, and we're just going to launch it on Thanksgiving weekend just because it makes sense. So I've messaged all my friends who I consider family,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and just friends that I know that don't have family here. And so they're coming at the start of Thanksgiving weekend. For anybody listening who's not in Canada, our Thanksgiving is in October.
Mm-hmm.
Not in November.
Early October. Yeah.
And so we're going to kick it off there. But then every month on the 15th month, everybody's going to come. It's just always open, no matter what. And it's going to be like a potluck style. And
Mm-hmm.
anybody and everybody's welcome on that, like that Saturday or whatever. And if you can make it, you can make it. If not, you don't need to show up. And it's just an
Yeah.
open door for everyone to come and bring something and just have that connection. Because I feel like after COVID, I think a lot of us are still kind of like trying to connect, don't know how, or all the other things, or we want to see these people, but we're just so busy. Like it's a combination effect. So I just had this idea, so I put it out there, and everyone's super pumped about it. So we're going to kick it
Yeah.
off over Thanksgiving, and then just have it happen on the 15th of every month, like whenever the
In
Saturday.
general, for the rest of the year until December, or every
So
month?
like every month, like ongoing. So the 15th, whatever the Saturday is, right? So it's not always going to fall on the 15th. It's just like an open invitation for anyone, and they just bring, I don't know, sandwiches or whichever,
Yeah.
and we just and play board
Wow.
games.
Yeah. And it sounds, again, that the thing that came to mind was the ease and flow around it. It's like,
Mhm.
that's where it is. You don't need to send any other, invitations out. It's clear what this is about. You don't need to like go out and host so many things either. Like you can stay
Yeah,
put. People are coming to you.
yeah,
And everyone's bringing a bit of like food or entertainment, and so the onus and the pressure isn't too much on you, apart from maybe a bit
yeah.
of cleaning if need be. But
That's
I mean, you probably do that anyway.
what I'm seeing
Um,
right now with the kids.
so that's wonderful. I
Yeah,
love that idea.
I'm really excited because I just find that there's so many that have family has moved because it's
Mm,
here in Victoria or other factors, and they're feeling really disconnected and so I just and
mhm.
good friends that we met along the way that are back. So I'm like, let's just have it as an open invitation, no expectation. Worst case scenario, my husband and I will just hang out by ourselves and eat food. Yeah,
Worst case, that's the worst case scenario.
right?
Ah,
The best
yeah.
case, really, but
Yeah.
yeah.
That's a wonderful idea. Yeah.
Yeah, we're
I'm
already almost at time.
yeah.
Do you have any last minute tips, tricks before we end?
Around goal setting or getting it done for the end of the year?
Any of the above. Any last
Any
minute.
of the above. Um, I would say the main thing is, if you wanted to accomplish something, is to have it for the right reasons.
Mm,
And that it's something that you actually want to do. It's not because of someone else.
mhm,
Um, so what would that be? Get your support network in, ask for help, get your accountability. And you know what we forgot to talk
mhm.
about is make it a bit fun. Don't we all need a bit more fun?
Yes, it's true.
So, you
That's why
know,
I probably did the dinner thing on the 15th. It's just
yeah.
kind of a way that it's not like, "Where are you? Why are you not here?" It's just like,
Uh,
open, bring food if you
yeah.
can, here's games, and the kids are welcome, so it's just gonna be fun, and I've always wanted that kind of flow in our house as well. I
Mhm.
love having people, like, I love having people over, so I'm super excited to have that
Yeah.
happen. Having fun is the key here with goal setting and
Exactly.
mm,
Yeah, exactly. And if it's not the right thing that you wanna work on, then, obviously sometimes there are a bit more serious things, especially when it's around more existential, topics, like you need to find a new job because, of finances, or you need to get debt-free, or, um, there's a health thing going on and, you want to get some clarity around that, whatever it is. Um, but even then, it's like, look for the ease and flow. It doesn't always not the toughest road to travel isn't always the best road. So where is there a bit of ease and flow, and how can you make it a bit more enjoyable for
yeah,
yourself? Even in tough situations, there's ways to be kinder to yourself by bringing a bit of lightness into the approach.
yes, love it. Well, thank you, Nadine, for coming on today. Such a pleasure as always, and
Woohoo.
we'll let everyone know when you're coming back in 2025, which is still weird to say. Uh, For everyone listening, thank you so much for listening to Breaking Norms, Building Dreams. A big thank you to United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network. With that, everyone, please remember your journey is unique and your worth is unquestionable. Thank you.
Bye.